Hey guys, Brad at McGrath Auto again. Okay, so I have a Ford Ranger. It's a PJ Ranger. In at the moment, no start, no communications with the scan tool with any module. So in this case, that's engine management computer, ABS, and the SRS system. So no communications at all. We verified that when we put our scan tool on, the DLC connector on our scan tool's got a LED light on it that will light up if you get a good chassis ground and a good 12 volt at the DLC connector, and that would flicker while we were plugging the tool in. So did a bit of a look, because this car had been a couple of places before it got here. What we found at the DLC connector, I don't know if you can see, is, there we go. So that bottom right connector has obviously had something poked in it, and then when you look through a few of the others, you find the same thing. So it looks as though someone has put multimeter test leads in the front side of the connector. Now, front pinning any connector, you don't do it unless you have the exact pin that is supposed to go in that connector. And by exact, I mean you've got a dead connector from somewhere else and you have the pin out of a wiring harness. Don't do it, because what happened, and this is the remnants, thankfully they didn't actually stick it in either of the can high or can low pins, so I could actually just back the can high and can low out of this connector. Went down to the wreckers, cut a connector out of a wreck, and checked the pin tension on everything, and anything that was loose we actually cut out and replaced with what came out of the replacement connector. So what I want to show you is, firstly, this is how you test. You get a breakout box. I'm just going to grab one of these, which is one that was cut out, and we are going to just pick a pin, stick it on the pin. So you can see in there it's on the pin. When you tip it up, it falls out. This is the spare can wire out of the connector that we got from the wreck, and we will just put that in on the same pin. And it holds the weight of one of my stainless steel filter brackets, and I can jiggle it, and it takes a fair amount of force to actually remove it. Sorry, I got interrupted there with the phone. So yeah, it's quite obvious that there should be quite a reasonable amount of tension on these pins. So what we've got now is I've got communication back with the ABS and with the SRS, because they actually have communications on the K line, and then the engine management computer has communications on CAN with the DLC. So I do believe that the initial problem with this car is actually going to be an ECU fault, and someone has created these extra problems at some point. I just wanted to do a quick video on why you don't front pin connectors. Why won't that focus? You don't front pin connectors unless you have the specifically correct pin to put in the front. If you need to go in a connector, try and back pin. The other option, and there's debates as to whether back pinning or piercing is the right way to do things. You can pierce a wire near a connector. Just if you pierce, make sure you pierce a smaller hole as possible. Don't go and butcher stuff. and seal it back up with like a liquid electrical tape or whatever when you're done, and there shouldn't be any problems.